So yeah, so as you can tell, I'll go ahead and show you. I don't think. Look, so we got little shops on this side. We got kind of more, I don't know what you want to call it, corporate shops on that side. I want to talk about the rise of corporatism, and it's real freaking simple. It's exactly like Thomas Jefferson said well before it even happened. He said, banking institutions are more dangerous to our liberties than standing armies. And then he said, first by inflation and then by deflation, they'll come to own the land our fathers conquered. And that's exactly what's happened. There's this thing called the business cycle that economists want to say is a natural thing. Nope, that is not a natural thing. It's inflation and deflation of a currency. First, they got they got the freaking money supply by the balls. They basically replaced the entire money supply with their freaking central bank, Federal Reserve notes, whatever country, and they freaking hijacked all the money. And when they do that, they can control the quantity of it by affecting the interest rates. All they gotta do is raise the interest rate and less people borrow money, and while people are paying it back at the same time, and boom, money supply shrinks. If they lower the interest rate, more people borrow money, boom, money supply increases. They literally just create the money through fractional reserve banking. They literally just print it off or type it in some computer, and that's the creation of money right there. It's a totally fucked system. But generally speaking, because, let's say in America, the entire country uses one type of money, uses these Federal Reserve notes, whenever they fuck with the quantity of it and the value changes, it fucks with the whole economy. And that's what's happened for the last 100 years, because people don't understand that you can use basically anything as money. I try to explain this in a few other videos. You can go find them somewhere. But yeah, man, like, I don't want to explain it. You can trade your stuff for anything, and then trade that stuff for anything else. You can trade it for gold, and then trade it to somebody else. Who ask the question, who will trade their stuff for gold if you trade your stuff for gold? I don't know. It's probably a big group of people. Okay, who would trade your stuff for a Pokemon card if you trade your stuff for a Pokemon card? Probably a group of people. Who would trade your stuff for a US dollar if you trade your stuff for a US dollar? We know that's a pretty big group of people. Who would trade their stuff for a Japanese yen if you trade your stuff for a Japanese yen? It's probably a big group of people. You see what I'm saying? It's just a group of people that are willing to trade their stuff for something. And you could trade your stuff for candy, and if you could be pretty sure you could go trade it to somebody who has what you want, you might as well consider that money. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel like getting too far into that, but generally speaking, because people don't understand money, they've been subjected to what happens to the only money that they do use. They've been subjected to what happens to the US dollar because they don't know that they can use something else. And with that being said, we have the rise of corporatism in America. And so first what happens is the deflation, the inflation maybe, but really deflation happens. I'll try to go over the cycle real quick. First, inflation, which makes the prices go higher, right? But it's all right because there's lots of money going around, people can afford it. But whenever they then deflate the currency, there's less money going on, but still high prices. People can't afford what they need even to keep their businesses running. A lot of businesses fail, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's when you get a Great Depression, stuff like that. You can see it all through. You can see the business cycle in graphs and history in the United States and stuff like that. And then they reinflate the currency, lower interest rates, reinflate the currency, and shit gets booming again. But this time around, all the few companies that did manage to survive, they have like a major head start. And then they come to dominate certain aspects of the economy. That's why you got a huge freaking shopping mart over here. There used to be just mom and pop grocery stores. You got all like these Subway, Papa John's. Those are like they're dominating the scene, and it's in large part Starbucks. You know what I'm saying? There used to be mom and pop shops on every corner. That's how it rolled. You know what I mean? That's how the economy worked. If you want, these are franchises. Don't get me wrong. People own these motherfuckers and shit, but and it has to do with branding and stuff. But like Walmart, you know what I mean? Corporatism, it rose up from the ashes of these artificial depressions. And I'm telling you, these certain companies, you know, they already had a head start because they survived. You can consider it a bottlenecking event in economics. It's pretty much like biology, like catastrophic event, all these motherfucking, you know, all the members of one species get wiped out, a few survive, then they end up repopulating everything. And that's basically what it is. It's a bottlenecking event in economics. And that's how we have fucking this corporate world today. And so it's an artificial business cycle that exists. There's no such thing as a natural business cycle. It just does not exist. It doesn't. The fucking business does not just slow down by itself. People don't just quit fucking working. Oh, we just got lazy right now. No, it doesn't work like that. You know, people don't just quit fucking planting seeds and farming. No, it doesn't work like that. What happens is the currency gets jacked up. People can't afford to fucking buy what they need to keep their businesses running. Businesses fail. That's when you got a motherfucking recession. You know, they're not making enough. People don't have money, so they're not making profit. They can't get money to come in to afford what they need to keep their business running. Shit fails. The economy stalls out. That is totally artificial. And it's only made possible by people's idiotic belief that the dollar is like money. Only, you know, you can use anything as money. You can use Pokemon cards, gold, silver, whatever you want. All that matters is who can you trade. Look, just imagine a barter system. And I will take the time to explain this before I go in the store. Imagine a barter system. You have shoes, you make shoes, you're a shoemaker. That's your last name. Bobby Shoemaker, okay? You want a sword, so you go to Mr. Sword, okay? You say, hey, I make shoes. Do you want some shoes? So I'll trade you for a sword. He's like, no, I don't want shoes. You're like, well, what do you want? I want tobacco. So you're like, all right, I'm going to go try to get some tobacco. So what do? You go over to the dude. So you go over to the dude who has tobacco. You say, what's up? I make shoes. Do you want to trade me for some tobacco? He's like, no, I don't want no shoes, man. And so you're like, okay, well, what do you want? He says, I want whiskey. It's like, all right. So you go to the whiskey guy. Finally find somebody who wants some shoes. So you're like, all right, man, what's up? I'll trade you some shoes for some whiskey. He's like, sure, man. He's already drunk. He doesn't care. So you go ahead and do that. And then finally you take the whiskey to the guy with the tobacco, take the tobacco to get the sword. You had to do all that just to get your sword, right? Okay, now let's take gold. What happened in Egypt? And this is literally how it came about, straight up, as far as I know. So you had the pharaoh who wore gold and made it look all, you know, he repped it right. Everybody's like, ooh, gold has status, right? And so people understood that it had value, so they were all willing to trade their stuff for it. If somebody had gold, it's like, yeah, I want gold, it has value, duh, sure, why not? You know, you had gold, anybody's willing to accept it. So generally speaking, you could trade what you have for gold and be pretty sure you could take that gold to anybody in the economy, anybody in the kingdom, whatever, who understood that it had value and trade it for something that they had. So you didn't have to go through 5 steps. You just went from what you got to gold and then brought the gold to whoever because they were willing to trade their shit for it. And that is what makes gold, instead of just being a rock, instead of just being a random item, it's money. Because there's a big group of people that are willing to trade their stuff for it. Same thing could happen with any type of paper, clamshells, ice cream, anything people want, straight up. If there's a big enough group of people that are willing to trade their stuff for it, you'll get that type of exchange thing going on. And I'm telling you, that'll save the whole world from these artificial recessions, I'm telling you. And believe me, this business, they do this shit, they plan this shit out. You think these people who do this shit don't know economics? No, dude. They inflate the currency, they deflate the currency, they fuck it up. It's all part of what they do. And as far as I know, they got a big one planned for the future. So people better get ready and understand how the fuck money works, man. You can use anything as money. Start using gold. See, gold, I don't think people should use. You know why? Because the market's already cornered on gold. If people start to use gold, it's already a monopolized money. If people start to use gold, you know, then the people who have already cornered the market on gold, who have already like consolidated it all, they can then just, you know, chip off a little nugget and trade it for a whole bunch of shit once people... It has to do with supply and demand and the value. You know, there's a small supply and a whole shitload of people that are trying to use it. They're going to be trading a lot of shit for it. You know, they're going to be competing for it. And thus, eventually, it's like the opposite of inflation. Instead of people offering a lot of money for a certain amount of goods. They're offering a lot of goods for a certain amount of money. They're competing by offering goods. And when that happens, people, the gold will have a very high value if that happens. And people who have already been going to the market on gold, who are already, who are already consolidated it, they'll be able to just, once people are trading like an entire house for like a ounce of gold, they can just chop off a nugget, boom, buy yourself a house. They got like billions of pounds. They could buy like the whole world if the value gets to that point. You see what I'm saying? So that's a little bit of the dynamics of money and stuff. And I was just kind of want to talk about the rise of corporatism. And since I was talking about it, I told you the reason, and kind of have, put a solution in your brain. Hopefully, you use Pokemon cards with money. You might say that's stupid because the people who make Pokemon cards could just print them. That would be stupid. But guess what? It's stupid to use the dollar because the people who make them can just print them. You know what I'm saying? It's just as stupid. I'd rather say, you could say Bitcoin maybe, but nah, that shit's already cornered too. It's already, they call them whales. I don't know. It has to be something that's not cornered. My real suggestion is have government print money to pay for public works directly. Don't borrow it. You know what I mean? As it stands, the United States borrows money from the Federal Reserve, who just straight up prints it. And so that's stupid because the United States goes in debt. And that's just crazy. So it's like the United States borrowing Pokemon cards from Mattel or whoever the fuck makes them. And it's like, oh, you owe us 100,000 Pokemon cards. What? Why doesn't the United States just print their own cards and use them? Why don't we use that shit as money? And they could print it to pay for stuff instead of taxing people. There's no debt. Right now, a lot of the taxes go to repaying the debt. The United States is borrowing money from the Federal Reserve, and then they're asking people to, and so it's going in debt, and then it's asking the people for money to pay back that debt. It's fucking retarded. It's a retarded system, and it's on purpose. Don't get me wrong. Don't act like I don't know. It's so obviously intentional. Don't act like it's not intentional. Don't fool yourself. With that being said, the solution I see is we could have local governments print money. Like your fucking city, your state money. Why not? Your state wants to, what would you say? Your state wants to build a highway. Okay, print some money, pay it to some people. Believe me, people will start using that shit as money. Like I said, right now, not a lot of people use gold as money. Shit, not a lot of people use Pokemon cards as money. There's dynamics of money. There's ways that money functions. It just comes down to, if you're going to trade your stuff for something, who can you trade it to? And the bigger that group, it's like a snowball effect. The bigger the group, the more people are going to want to buy into that. And also depending on the supply of that money and how many people there are competing for it, it'll have a certain value. The less money there is, the more people competing for it, the higher its value is going to be. Because it's just more stuff per unit of that money being offered. And that's really just some quick details about the dynamics of money. With that being said, I suggest we have local governments or whatever print money to pay for public works, and people be very, very involved in the government, like very involved. So when I say very involved, I mean like people are the government and like communally decide what the fuck they want to spend money on. That's the whole point of a democracy, right? People deciding what they want to do, right? Isn't that what a democracy is? People voting on what they want to do, voicing their own fucking desires or whatnot. To me, that's what the fuck it's all about. Anyhow, so that's my suggestion. Have the government print money, local governments, whatever, city, state, whatever, and definitely not have a fucking bank print that shit and borrow it and go in debt. That's fucking retarded. I say state maybe print money, and I'm telling you, people use it. And you just, like I said, as long as I'm telling you, the government's supposed to be just a gathering of the people deciding shit to do for themselves, like communally. Like it's just supposed to be people getting together and saying, hey, what should we do for our community? Da 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 da. Like a fucking homeowners meeting or something. That's like a government. That's a natural thing that happens, like in like fucking Indian tribes, Native American tribes, like the chiefs will come together and like make some pacts and shit and be like, okay, we're gonna do this and that, whatever, And that's how government's supposed to be. And that's what it should be, and people should do that. And when they get together like that, they could decide what they might want to do, and then if they want to do something, has to just print some freaking money to pay people to make it happen. And there's more dynamics to it. I could keep getting into it. Like I said, the value will be dependent upon how many people are trying to use it and the supply. Later on down the road, maybe a whole bunch of people using it. It's not that much. The government won't even have to print barely any to be able to afford, certain, to buy a highway, to build a highway. It won't take that much money because the value might be so high. And that just really requires a really close eye on how much money is being printed, and which is what I mean by people should be very, very involved with the government should be made up of the people. You see what I'm saying? That needs to be in your brain. The idea of government itself needs to be understood, like its original intent. It's just like the chiefs of Indian tribes. They just come together and talk and decide to do stuff, make pacts, whatever. That's government right there. Anyhow, I gotta get in the store because I could probably talk about this all day, but I'm just gonna get in the store, do what I gotta do, and we'll get back on. I'll get back to talking about stuff like this in a minute. All right, talk to you guys later.